Hello Bitsbrood, this is Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk here, and I am joined, as always, by Katie. So, this is like video 9, I think, in the Hobby in the Hobby School series, Season 1. And we are looking at basing our miniatures. Now, there are hundreds of ways of basing miniatures. I've done tutorials on different types of basing before, but this is probably the easiest way to base miniatures. We're not going to base them and cook them. Just the usual stuff before we begin though. If you are new to this channel and you like all things hobby related, then please do feel free to hit that subscribe button. And as always, just a huge shout out and a massive thank you to all of our Patreons for helping support our channel. You guys help us make more videos like this one and this series, so thanks so much. And if you want to know what our Patreon is all about, there is a link down below in the description. So let's head over to the desk. I haven't actually got a miniature on the desk yet.
So excited for this one.
This one. So our Space Marines, we've been painting some of them, but there's still some where we haven't, as you can see, haven't got around to finishing them. We're hoping we'll have another video to finish this series off in a couple of weeks, hopefully, where we'll showcase for finished miniatures. But for now, this is what we're going to use to base our miniatures with. So the easiest way I find, if I just get my thingy ready, is to use GW texture paints. They were made specifically for this purpose, and they work really well. Now, of course, you can use the old traditional method of putting some glue down with some flock, and you know, you're done really, or some sand and you can paint that. But I really like using these, they're quite effective. That's what we're going to do. So, now instead of using a brush, I mean, you can use a brush on the newer ones. We're going to use a Citadel spatula. Get these in some of the sets, I think, and I think you can buy them. But yeah, you essentially get some texture paint from out of your pot and start applying it to the base. So Katie's got a pot as well.
Literally just shove it on and spread it around.
Yeah, so essentially I put a dollop on the middle like that, and then just spread it around nice and thin. You don't want it to be too thin, but you don't really need it to be too thick either. You can sort of see where the texture is.
I've only ever watched like Wayne do this, so it's really weird.
It's very different from just traditional painting. Now you could even make your own just by getting some like builder's sand and some cheap acrylic and just sort of mixing them up. I've been tempted to do that, especially for like terrain and stuff.
I've made my own texture paste before for mixed media. That's quite easy actually. PVA glue.
Oh yeah, and a bit of PVA as well.
Talcum powder and a white acrylic paint.
Okay.
That is literally it. Works really well actually. That sounds crazy, I know, but okay. Does it really matter if it gets on the feet too much?
See, I never really worry too much if I get a little bit on the bottom of the feet, because it sort of just adds like that little effect that they've been walking in the mud and that. And you wouldn't expect a Space Marine to be walking through the dirt and have like perfectly clean armour. That would be it. So obviously you don't want to get all over miniatures, so do be careful. Of course, these spatulas have a thinner side as well, so when you do get near the feet, you can use the thin side just to push around the feet like so. But you do want to cover as much of the base as you can, preferably all of it, but
this is really strange stuff to
it does get a bit
move
difficult around the feet. Yeah,
so I've never ever done this. It's really...
So I'll just continue.
Oh no. It's gone in my hair.
Oh no. That's why I keep my hair nice and short.
Trust me.
Oh, I got it on the I just slipped a bit. Doesn't matter. I've got to paint over that anyway. Yeah, I mean, usually I would do this as the last step, but obviously just for purposes of this video, we're doing it now. Now, the reason why I'm doing it on this miniature and not one with pretty much painted is because this takes a long time to dry. I like to leave them overnight, preferably at least 2 or 3 hours, really. But once it's dry, you'll have something that looks like this. And it's got a lovely sort of sand texture on there now, it looks pretty nice. So the next step is to add some depth to this. I'll go out of shot. So while Katie's finishing up, I'm going to start on the next step. I'm going to take some Agrax Earthshade, just try and get in shot. I was so zoomed in today, but that's fine. And yeah, I'm going to thin it out a little bit. I've only got my little brushes in here. I should have brought in a bigger brush, but thin it out a little bit and just apply it. Just apply it all over, really. And that'll help just put some depth.
Okay, I think I'm done.
In there and help bring out the detail of the sand a little bit. It will darken it down, but that's fine. Now, of course, you can use loads of different texture paints. GW do have different colours. They have greys and browns, and sort of earthy reds as well. This guy's actually got a rock on its base, which I haven't painted, but that doesn't matter. You could paint it exactly the same way as the base if you wanted.
Where is the brush?
So yeah, if you are using the different colours, for example, I like to use the Astrogranite quite a lot, and for that I would wash it with Nuln Oil rather than Agrax, but obviously I can only really show off one way of doing it on this video. Okay, so of course, as we know, the washes also take some time to dry, so we have another one that I prepared earlier, and this is our familiar Space Marine. If you're regular to the series, you'll have seen that we've been painting a lot on this guy, and he's almost done. It's just his base. So the next step is to do some dry brushing. And I'll take some Ooze Shafty Bone. You could use Tyrant Skull, but mine seems to be properly dried up, so going with Ooze Shafty Bone. So dry brushing is something we haven't actually covered on the Hobby School series. Essentially, you get maybe an old brush. I like to use these sort of cheap makeup brushes. Citadel will do their own dry brushes. But you put some paint on the brush and then you wipe a lot of it off on like a piece of paper towel, like I'm doing here. Sorry, I can't get it in shot because we're like proper zoomed in, but you wipe it off till you sort of get to sort of like that. And this isn't the best brush to use because it's a bit dried up now, but and then you just lightly go over the area, and that builds up the colour on all the raised surfaces. And hopefully you can see it okay. That's starting giving us a nice highlight on all this sand. Again, I'm not too fast if I get a little bit around the feet, as that sort of give this sort of dusty appearance of where he's been walking through the dirt. But one thing people tend to get wrong with dry brushing is they try and do it all in like just one pass or 2 passes, so they don't have too much paint on the brush, or they might push down really heavy with it. But if you just do a lot of passes quite lightly, that seems to work the best, and you can build up some nice effects. And there's a lot of things you can do with dry brushing as well, help do some nice effects. But for now, just highlighting this sand for us. Use a little bit of what's left on there. As you can see, that gives us a nice highlight on there. Okay, so there's only a couple more steps to do, and next we're going to add a little grass tuft or something to here. Now, Citadel will make some, Army Painter make some, and the other ones we're going to use the Army Painter ones. These are the swamp tuft. things. You could just apply some PVA glue and put a little bit of static grass down. You could have little rocks or whatever. This is just what I like to do, so it's just personal preference. But now these are self-adhesive. However, I find that they still need a little bit of super glue just to stay on, otherwise they do fall off after a little while. So a little dollop of super glue on your base, and then here's just a case sticking your grass tuft on top, like so. That just gives you a little bit more on your base. Now try and put it maybe even in a better position where I have, but I like having them just off centre a little bit, like so. And usually at the front as well. That's just a personal preference of mine. It's really entirely up to you. So, Katie's now going to apply hers to her base.
Very dangerous with super glue.
It's just a tiny little dollop's all you need. Okay. So, the last thing to do is to paint the rim of the base. Now, I like to either do it one of two ways. The first way is to paint it a darker shade of whatever's on top. So in this case, like a dark brown or something. Say you went grey, then you'd have a dark grey, etc. Another way, which I know a lot of people do favour as well, is to paint them black, and that's what I'm going to do here. So have it on black, and literally just paint the rim of the base black. Simple as that.
Right.
And just straight out of the... I'm doing this just straight out of the pot, just being a bit lazy, but it's thin enough really. And then just work your way carefully around the rim of the base. Need a little bit more. Now, when it comes to putting your miniature down, I'm going to put it down on the kitchen roll rather than on the cutting mat, because that will leave a little black ring on whatever surface you leave it on. Usually anyway. Let's get it back in shot. Now, you don't need to use as nice a brush as I am here, it's just what I have on hand. And actually I will thin that out just a little bit. Like so. Should just get a nice, good coverage around there. And yeah, and then I'll leave that on the kitchen roll. And yeah, just to show you where I've put it, look, see the odd little bits of black, look, from where that's coming off there. So if you had put it down on your nice cutting mat, that's when you'd get all rings of paint everywhere. Of course, some cutting mats, like the one I normally use, has a load of paint on already, so it's not much of an issue, but these are sort of newer ones. But yeah, and with that, this miniature is actually complete. And by following all the steps that we've done so far in the Hobby School series, you too can have a full squad of painted ultramarines, or you could swap out the colours for whatever chapter you so wish. But yeah, so Katie's just finishing off.
Yeah.
I'm doing a much neater job of it than I am.
Don't know about that.
And we'll switch back to the other camera. And yeah, so the next video I'd quite like to show off the 5 completed Space Marines that we've both done each. So we'll have to get working on them. So it probably won't be a week after this one, though we do film these a couple of weeks in advance, so you never know. These have also been going up early on Patreon, but that one probably won't. The last one probably won't. But yeah, we're going to try and get these finished up, and the next video will showcase them, and that will be the end of Hobby School Season 1, and then later down the line we'll film some more. And yeah, we'll go into different types of techniques. We'll have different miniatures other than Space Marines. We could even look at the contrast paints when they're out as well.
I'd love to look at them.
Yeah, so that'd be
great.
That'd be quite cool. Maybe we'll do a video on them. which I quite enjoy, or maybe just a one-off video on them anyway. We could look at them in a bit more
That's a good idea, actually.
detail, just play around with them for
Yeah.
a video, so I'd quite like to do that. So lots to look forward to, and as always, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with everything we post. And if you have enjoyed this video, then please do give it a like. Let us know what you've thought of the Hobby School series, and we will see you in video 10, where we will show off our lovely painted ultramarines. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again very soon. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.